Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and welcome to the Mini But Mighty Fantasy Assets Bundle. This is one of the mighty assets you can see in front of you, and honestly, this is one of the best-looking assets I have seen in a Humble Bundle yet. Now, you may be noticing this is definitely running in Unreal Engine, as is this guy right here. Let's go take a quick look around this asset. It is a Tavern environment. Good looking, for sure, and let's go take a look inside of this environment. So this is an Unreal Engine asset bundle. I just kind of want to showcase something before we get too far into it. Here, it is running in Godot. So I converted this asset over, and arguably, I like with the stark lighting better. So we lost the landscape, we got all the surroundings, we got the foliage and such. Landscape did not carry over, but this asset came across no problem at all. So here it is on the inside. I set up this lighting, so obviously it is much different. You'll also notice I have a strobed or animated light going on down here, which I actually am kind of proud of. But yeah, so you can see, obviously you can use these assets in other environments. In fact, the castle that we saw earlier on, this guy right here, this absolutely stunning looking asset, well, here it is running in Blender. Now, one thing you may notice is Blender is not really happy about having a model of this size loaded in it, but as you can see, the majority of the details do make it across, and I can turn on texturing, and hopefully my computer won't completely annoy me. I'm not going to switch over to EV mode, but as you can see, lighting is obviously quite different, but yeah, so you can bring these models across and use them in other environments as well. This scene is gigantic once exported, by the way, which is why this is just chugging. But yeah, this is it running in Blender as well. Here we are back, though, in its home and native land. So basically, there are three assets in this bundle, one at the $5 tier, one at the $10 tier, and one at the $15 tier. So basically, you're paying $5 for each asset. Let's go take a quick gander around this castle environment. This is the top tier asset, in my humble opinion. It's also the best looking asset of the bunch. As you can see, when you are running it in Unreal Engine with all of the lighting and texturing and particle effects going on, it is an absolute stunner. So if you're wondering how I actually exported these things out, I've got a guide on it. I will show you it in just a second. But in this case, it was as simple as it gets. Basically, come here, File, Export All, and then you pick the file formats. I believe I brought those out as GLB files or GLTF files, and then you can just use them in Blender, whatever game engine you wish. So very easy to get things out of Unreal Engine, and they look good when they are out. There's other ways as well. There's a plugin for Unity. There's the Omniverse USD connector. I'll cover all that in just a second. Let's go take a look through this castle. This is absolutely stunning. So again, this is the $15 tier, so it'll cost you $15 to get this asset with two others. I will show you the other two assets, but it's beautiful. It's very Dark Souls-y, though this reminds me of a level, very much reminds me of a level in Bloodborne. But the castle style is more Lothric Castle. If you are a Dark Souls player, you're going to probably find this style very familiar. But if you're looking for that high fantasy or gothic fantasy look, absolutely beautiful asset pack. If you're wondering, let's go check out the overview map on this one. So let's go to Gothic Castle, map, and then we have overview. So this will give you an idea of the individual assets in here. Obviously, when you're working with them in Unreal Engine, they are pre-configured as blueprints, etc. Let me just pause while this finishes loading. So here we are. These are all of the assets that go together to create that environment. So we got some tents and statues and pillars and columns, all of the various different walls and interiors. Everything obviously is modular, so you can create just about whatever you want in this style out of it. We've got various different supporting architectural pieces, all of the various different entrances, towers, and so on. So that is the overview of the asset. This is the Tier 3 asset in the bundle. Now this here is the Tier 1 asset. Now I changed the lighting on this one slightly because it just wasn't working in Unreal Engine 5.3. So I changed the lighting drastically, by the way. So I should have a much more moody lighting in your demo when you load it up. But this is the $1 tier item. It is basically a castle interior setting. So this would definitely play well with the other one. Very obviously, so you can see that the name here even says King Arthur. So this is a Knights of the Round Table homage. But you've got banners and pennants and such. You got the chairs and placements here, the light sconces. Here are the various different pieces that go together to create this asset. So this one is the most minimal of the assets here. Still all very high quality stuff, but this is what you're getting at the $5 tier. And then your median tier was this guy right here. Let me just turn off the game objects. and this is a tavern environment. So obviously all three of these assets will work together quite well. This one is the one that we saw earlier on in Godot. Here it's got, again, you can see a train that wasn't carried over, but everything else made it across, except for maybe the sky map. But yeah, this is an inn, like so. All of the pieces you see to go ahead and create this inn are included as well. So lots of, things for populating. We've got some bread and food and cutlery and drinks, etc., all available here. And so let's go over to the showcase level right here. So that is, I think it's the overview right here. And this is all of the stuff that goes together in this one. So again, completely modular, so you could create whatever kind of environment you want out of it. We got a number of wanted posters here, poor deer head, various different lanterns, etc. for the world, some pots and such. These are all blueprinted, by the way. So there, over here, we've got all the wall pieces that you use to create things, modular wall pieces. Here you got some vegetation, a number of different roof styles. So we've got working, we've got windowed, we've got patched roofs or holes in our roofs. We got some turrets to put on the end of our roof. And then we have a random mountain with a chunk of roof sticking out of it. So that is the median pack, the tavern pack there. And one last time, here it is running in the Godot game engine. Again, to do this, all I did was exported it out of the game engine using the file export all, imported it in as a GLB file, and then added my own lighting. So some of these things, so these sconces, for example, are using lighting. So grab that guy right there. So if you wanted, you could turn that lighting off, and you could create your own. So that's why it looks so vastly different than the other one. I also have emissive settings turned on here. And then this is also an animated light source that I put up, so you can see over time the intensity is changing. But as you can see, with lighting tweaks, etc., other than the train, this came across to the Godot game engine flawlessly. So you'd be able to do the same thing with pretty much, well, near flawlessly. Leaves didn't work out that great. But everything else here looks wonderful. So even if you are not using the Unreal game engine, this is a very easy to work with asset in other engines as well. I'll cover the legality of that all in just a second. So again, here it is, the overview of it running in Unreal Engine. Definitely some very good stuff. If you're not working with Medieval, obviously there is literally nothing here for you. So let's go take a look at the overview. So this is the Mighty but Mini Humble Bundle. If you don't know how this works, Humble Bundles are a collection of stuff, in this case Unreal Engine assets, around a theme, in this case Medieval. You decide how your money is allocated between Humble Charity, the publisher, and if you so choose, and thank you so much if you do, to help support Game From Scratch. As you can see here, 3 tiers, $5 a tier, top tier $15, middle tier $10, bottom tier $5. You're getting the castle interior is tier 1. The medieval tower is tier 2, and then for $15, you get all 3 of them, which includes that fantasy castle. It's really nice looking assets. So this is from Laurentius Studios. In terms of how you get them, they redeem on the Epic Game Store, so you get a product key for each one. Then what you do is you head on over to the Epic Games launcher, you click on the Epic Games Store, you wait 7 hours for it to load because it's the Epic Games Store. You go over to your account over here, and you do a redeem code. And then you put one of each of these codes in, like so. And then once you have redeemed all of the codes, you go over to Unreal Engine, go to your library. You search down here, for example, Medi. I always spell medieval wrong. So medieval, we've got one of these here is the castle. So there's the castle interior, for example. And the other one is here as well. And then we've got the tavern available here, and the tavern is there. One thing to note with these assets, 2 out of 3 of them are create project assets, which is frustrating because basically you got to create a project and port them over to another engine or to another project. I don't know why these were create projects as opposed to add to projects, but yeah, that is what they are. So that is how you redeem the bundle. Again, pretty straightforward. It's kind of like $5 an asset. And I think that these are all clearly worth that much if they're useful to you. What do you think of this approach? So this one actually isn't going to run that long either. This is a flash sale, basically. It's only going to last for a little bit over a week. So if you want to pick these one up, you have about a week to do so, but some really nice fantasy-style assets. If you want to figure out how to export from Unreal Engine, there are a couple of options. In this case, everything you saw here, I just did it as GLB files, but there is an exporter available for Unity that does an even better job, and you can bring it over to Omniverse's USD, and it looks absolutely amazing. Only problem with Omniverse is it's a giant pain in the ass to get it set up. You may be wondering, okay, is this legal? And the answer is 99% of the time, yes. Check the license that the assets are released under. These are under the standard Epic Store license, which means, yeah, go ahead. You can use them in other game engines. So that is the the mini but mighty Unreal Engine environments bundle. Let me know what you think. Comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.